Hi guys, I'm Rich, owner of American General Transport. I'm going to explain a little bit about how our retirement program works. This program was put together to solve problems that the trucking industry has been plagued with for quite some time. And short of self-driving trucks, which will come someday, every trucking company is at risk when they hire drivers and put them into an expensive piece of equipment out there on the road. The two big problems the trucking company typically faces is high turnover and getting drivers to take care of the trucks that we issue to them. So I had to come up with a program to try to allow drivers to feel like they're part of what we are as a company. So this program was put together, and as you hear about this, it'll make it seem like this is actually an employee-owned company, which we hope that everybody kind of perceive it as being like that. But I'll explain how the trucking industry works a little bit and what we do. We transport mostly seafood, refrigerated product throughout the U.S., 48 states. Some of our trucks do go into Canada, but for the most part, everything runs strictly within the 48 states. Now, every carrier has losses every year due to incidents that happen out there on the road, drivers. We buy an expensive truck. Trucks are not cheap when you buy them. You're talking between $130,000 to about $180,000 for a truck when you put it out there on the road. That's just for the truck, not counting the trailer. You have a nice refrigerated trailer and you got another $60,000, $70,000 worth of trailer there. And then you're transporting products, seafood that the nation is going to be consuming. So you have to get good people that are going to be taking this stuff and doing what they have to do in their position. But how do you get them to stay? Now, trucking companies oftentimes will put sign-on bonuses out there, which brings people in, but it doesn't keep them. Once the sign-on bonus, which is paid out typically over maybe a month period or a 6-month period, they'll pay like, if it's a $2,500 bonus, they may pay half of it at 2 weeks and then the other half at 3 months or a month or 2 months or whatever their guideline is. They have their own rules, which is fine. But the problem is once they get to the point where they've got their bonus, then they start perceiving, hey, maybe there's something else that's out there. So it ends up creating the same problem over and over and over again, which is drivers coming and going. There's no reason for them to stay. They're either on a program where they're an employee driving the truck or a contractor on owning their own truck and they pull our trailer, or we get the trucks and we get the drivers and for a lease purchase on these trucks. So they're, in essence, the truck is theirs. They're making the payments on it through the settlements on their freight that they move for our company. Our shipping facilities, just so you're aware, are in Los Angeles, Seattle, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Dallas, Texas, Winter Spring, Florida, Charlotte, North Carolina, Baltimore, and Boston. And from there we run all over the place. Just about every type of customer that has seafood, we're going there. We're not going to the stores, we're going to distribution centers. But the way a trucking company typically works, they have an average profit margin of about 19%. After all said and done, all the costs and everything is 19% is what their total net profit, and that includes everything. Even in buying trailers and then their depreciated value once they're paid off and turned over after 3 to 5 years, and then purchasing new trailers. So after all that is said and done, it's about a 19%. So what we wanted to do is to try to give back to the drivers to help attract them to want to stay with our company. So here's what we typically do. When a truck is gotten for our company, $10,000 is put out of pocket to get that truck on the road. And now the rest of that truck that's owed on that truck is financed, and it's over a 6-year term, which is where the term 6-year retirement program comes from. Now, the drivers are making anywhere here between $62,000 a year to about $113,000 a year, and that's the numbers that we finished up with 2018. So it's a decent income, but we wanted to give them motivation to want to stay here so we don't have the typical turnover. So the way we ended up doing it is several years ago we did a little bit of an experiment. Instead of us buying the trucks, we allow our drivers here to co-sign with them to buy additional units. Now, if a driver came here as an owner-operator and he's saved up some money and he's got $10,000 saved up, then we'll co-sign with him to go ahead and get his first additional truck. Now, he'll receive the same percentage on that particular truck, and he's out of that percentage that he's receiving on that truck, he's going to pay his driver that's going to drive that truck 90% of that revenue that that truck brings in. Out of that 90%, and the driver that we co-sign with will get 10%. That's where 10% of the 19% revenue comes from on a trucking company's profit. So what we're essentially doing is we're accepting only a 9% profit here. So I'm going to explain this in more detail. Now, that truck that this driver is driving, and over that 6-year term when it gets paid off, then that truck value that we paid maybe $160,000 with 6 years earlier, the value is between about $45,000 and $55,000. So for the sake of argument, I'm going to choose a figure of $50,000 so it's easier to figure out here. So if it's sold for $50,000, the person that put the $10,000 into the truck to begin with, he gets that $10,000 back so that he can buy a replacement truck to replace the one that he's now losing, because this one's now paid off and it belongs to this driver, but it's going to be sold. Now, if the driver could keep it, if he just paid the $10,000, he could keep it, maybe finance $10,000 on that truck and just pay off, and he owns the truck and go somewhere. But that's what they may do with other trucking companies, but that doesn't really do anything for the guy, because now he's got an old truck with a lot of miles on it, probably 650 to 700,000 miles on it, and it's going to have repetitious problems. When we get our trucks, we get a 5-year warranty with every truck. We get the best warranty that we can get, so there's not going to be a whole lot of repairs that the driver's going to be facing throughout the time that they're here, except for that last final year. But when if it sells for $50,000, then $10,000 is taken out to give to the driver that put the $10,000 into the truck to begin with, so you can get a replacement. But now you got $40,000 left over, and this belongs to the driver that was in that truck for that 6-year term. Now, he could choose to do anything he wants to with it. He can take it and go and live his life. Or what he could do is use that money and get multiple trucks with that money and get revenue coming in off of those trucks. We'll manage the trucks for him. Our accounting department will help him out with the accounting side of it and do most of the accounting side of it for him. Dispatch will manage everything for running the trucks, where the lanes are going to be based on where the driver lives and where he does and doesn't want to go. And those drivers that are going to be in those trucks are going to get the same retirement program as this driver did with us to begin with. Now, the average truck here to the truck ranges anywhere on a monthly basis, the gross before fuel and insurance is taken out and the truck payment is taken out, ranges anywhere from about $17,000 to about $23,000 per month. Now, if we take an average figure of around 20, just for the sake of argument to be able to figure this out, and we have the numbers to be able to show you how it actually does work out this way. But if we take $20,000 per month of revenue, and we're taking 10% of that for the driver, and 10% of that for the guy that put the $10,000 in on the truck, and 90% is going to go to the driver, and that 10% of $20,000 is going to come to $2,000. So if he has 4 trucks with that $40,000, $2,000 per truck, that's $8,000 a month coming in. Now, what's nice about this is that money will continue happening until time is up for this guy. So, because when those 4 trucks are running for that 6 years, and at the end of that 6 years, then those trucks will be sold. He'll get the $10,000 times 4 coming back to him to replace his 4 trucks. Now, because it's kind of a shared employment, or not employment, but a shared profit that we're doing with the drivers that are here, it gives them incentive to want to stay and be able to take care of that truck, because that truck that they have at the end of that 6 years has to be able to sell for a decent income. So it gives them a big motivation to take care of that truck and want to stay here. Instead of doing a sign-on bonus at the beginning and then the rest of it, it depends on when he's going to quit or when he's going to leave. And when he does, there's nothing there for him. Maybe he got involved into a retirement program there. Maybe he'll save up 40, 50, 60, 70,000 bucks, but then that money goes so fast. We wanted to be able to give back. Instead of an owner taking everything, we wanted to be able to give back to the driver so we can attract better people into the transportation industry. That's the main goal. We don't want the bad seeds here, and that's why with each person we bring on here to put into one of these trucks, I will meet with them, or somebody with the company will meet with them face to face, and we need to be able to talk with this individual and understand that We don't want to make the traditional mistakes out there. If you've done something in your past that you're not proud of, but you felt you had no option, we don't want that happening here. And if we see it repetitious in a person's background, I'm sorry, we don't want them here. That's not what we need to do to build the foundation for our business to grow and continue to get to be the best carrier that's out there for anywhere in the U.S. and bleed into other aspects of industries besides just refrigerated freight. But anyway, but we have to be able to focus on what those financial goals are going to be to be able to make sure. But it's been traditionally, it's worked out perfectly. We've tested this for about 7 years now, and it's been running perfectly. Our business has been around since 2005. But we started this program up. We had some pitfalls at the very beginning, and we had a lot of things to work out to get to the point where we began the program. And now we've gotten to the point where multiple guys here have incorporated into this, and it's working out beautifully. When these trucks are equipped with all the conveniences that we think drivers are going to want over that 6-year period that they're going to be driving that truck, like refrigerators, nice sleeping accommodations inside the truck, heated and cooled seats, inverters built into them. Now we're even starting to build the metallic grills at the front of these brand new Freightliner Cascadias so that we aren't going to get any scratches on fenders, or if you happen to be going through an area where there's deers or elk or something like that, it's not going to just destroy that truck, because when you hit a deer or an elk, it's just going to demolish the truck. And it's going to be extremely expensive and time consuming. So this will help prevent that loss that we may have in that respect. But we're also considering getting inverters built into, APUs built into the trucks as well. The problem is there's such a backlog on APUs right now, it's difficult to even get them, especially in the quantities that we need them. We just can't get them in that kind of quantity. You can go out there and maybe buy 1 or 2, but it's kind of a hunt and peck trying to try to find these. So anyway, we make sure that these are going to be good features that are going to be able to be decent when it comes time for resale, which is why the APU could be a beneficial aspect for these trucks. Even if we get a truck and the APU is added afterward, maybe the driver happens to find one we happen to locate, maybe the shortage doesn't happen to be there much anymore because you can't even get them to the dealerships anymore. So, but we can finance it for the driver, and that way the driver is going to make his deductions on his settlements for covering the payments on that, but he's saving money for fuel at the truck stops at the same time. So it ends up working out for him. Plus, at the end of the term when that truck's paid off, it's going to increase the resale value on that truck. So you may be able to get maybe an extra truck out of that revenue, because it demands a higher price when the APU is on a used truck. But what's been merging over these past few years that we started this program is now, while the drivers are here during their 6-year term, they began to inquire if they save up their own money, like $50 a week, $100 a week, or whatever they're saving up. And over the period of maybe 1.5 to 2 years, can they go ahead and, if they have $10,000, be able to go ahead and add another truck before they get to the point of retirement, so they can get off of financial dependency. Once you have that point where you no longer have to worry about living paycheck to paycheck, it actually feels pretty good, and you tend to think more clearly, and you're probably not going to be forgetting things as much because you're stressed about money, paying the bills, family stuff, all the stuff that normal lives are encompassed with. But anyway, the program was intended to help people grow financial independence within our company. There's always going to be ups and downs in our industry, just like the government shutdown for a 5-week period. It kind of hurt our business for that 5-week period, and it hurt everybody. So you had thousands of contractors in the trucking industry that had no work for that time period. So even the truck stops near us, they were just packed with trucks. It was hard to even get parking out there during that time period. And I'm sure you guys all experienced it as well. But anyway, that's what our retirement program is all about. Pay is done on a weekly basis here. There are certain guidelines we need to have, like we have to have at least 2 to 3 years experience with a guy, so we can actually see that there's a history. We can't put a guy that's brand new or within a year or two, his experience is very shallow, and they may not have this indelibly marked aspect for the size of the truck that they're going to be driving, the 53-foot reefer trailer. to be able to turn corners or get around vehicles, or we also have to make sure that they're not getting involved in road rage or doing bad things out there. We don't want people that are going to lie. We want people that are truthful. If you make a mistake, fine, let's live through the mistake. We'll work out, come up with a solution for it, and we'll move on. But let's not lie. Let's be honest. If we're going to be honest as a company, let's be honest as a driver. And if there's a mistake that's made, let's just resolve it and move on. Just like a personal relationship. If you can resolve your problems, not focus on the problem, but focus on the solution for the problem, your relationship will tend to be better. If you focus on the problem and you sit there and let it bug you and bug you and bug you, you tend to yell at your partner, you get angry, frustrated, and you're both, at each other's throats all the time, and it doesn't make a happy life. But anyway, let's solve the problem and move on. Let's find the solutions to the problems that are out there. So we build a better foundation for the company as it grows into other aspects. Anyway, that's our program. Pay is done on a weekly basis. We do a thorough background screening with each and every driver, and we do monitor drivers. We do encourage drivers' growth here within our company so that they can get onto the point of financial independence as soon as they possibly can. Because we don't want any one individual to continue to grow to get to a massive feeling like they have, because they are considered part owner of the company. We don't want them to have any more control than anybody else. So the maximum anybody can have here, at least for the contract terms that we have now, is 7 trucks in our fleet, and that's it. 7 trucks at $2,000 a month revenue, you're talking 14 grand. You can live pretty well on that, pretty comfortable, and you can probably get out there and do the things you want to do. Get out there and travel, see the world, experience things, and enjoy your life. Just be here for 6 years, do a great job, do better than what you've done before, because there's a little pot of gold at the end of this rainbow. So that's how our program works here. We encourage other carriers to use the same program, because this is going to get our entire industry into a better place. There's really no reason for drivers to want to go work for a trucking company. It's not unless they had a family that's been in that industry for quite some time. So this gives them a reason to want to come here. I mean, imagine if you just went to a 4-year college and you got to go work for 20, 30 years and then build up what you hope you have enough for retirement. This gives drivers a huge incentive to want to come here. Maybe go through and get with another trucking company that's willing to take you as a new driver and get your experience with somebody else. And then once you have that experience, then we can bring you on here, because we have to have a better company. We have to be able to in order to demand better rates from customers, we have to have better drivers. If we have worse drivers, then we're not going to be able to demand any better rates than anybody else. So we want to attract better people, so that, and that's one of the reasons why this program is put together, is to give give people a better chance to live a better life. So that's our program here, and we encourage you to call. The phone number here is 866-716-5411. I'm at extension 1022. But you can dial 1025, and that's our other individual here in safety. But please come on board, check us out, and we're also getting into the restaurant industry now too as well. We're building a whole new design of restaurant, and it's never been done before, and I think everybody's going to love this, so it's going to help fulfill a lot of lives out there. But thank you for watching, and we hope that things work out and you'll come on board with us.